Hello, welcome back to my studio. In this video, we're going to look at mixing color and specifically beach colors. We're going to look at everything from wet sand to reflections on the sand, the receding water, the sunlit beach, all of those typical beach sand colors. Ones that you may feel are difficult, or maybe you're not looking out for them. But if you get these colors right, they make your beach scene look and read correctly. So let's have a go at mixing these. They're not very difficult. I'm using a method where I try and spot each color and mix that color, and then I can do the painting. But we're going to focus on the mixing specifically. So let's dive in and see how it's done. Okay, these are the basic colors I'm using, a nice selection of warm and cool colors. And I'm spotting the different colors in this photograph, which I encourage you to do to try and isolate the colors you need to mix. So starting with the lightest blue, that's the reflection of the sky into the water or the wet sand. Now you can see basically asking yourself warmer or cooler, lighter or darker. That is the question you keep asking. Now I think this needs to be warmed up a little. It's not simply blue and white, but a little bit of warmth with some alizarin crimson gives you just the right element, because the sand is influencing the color. It's not simply white and blue to make a sky color. We're getting a slightly darker and warmer color. So the next one is fairly simple. Some yellow ochre and titanium white gets a pretty accurate color. But I'm looking at the specific spot there, and we're getting, it's basically there with some white and yellow ochre. Now this sort of pinkish, coolish, pinkish color on the edge of the wet sand. So you got the local color, which is the yellow ochre and white, but a little bit of alizarin comes into it. Compare it to your spot there, and you can see I need to cool it down a bit. So a little bit of cerulean blue, pretty accurate there. A touch of alizarin, and I think that is as close as we need to get there. Now this color is probably, the sand is wetter, it needs to be cooled down, and I try and, it's like circling the color. You're getting closer and closer. Bit of blue, some alizarin in there. Obviously I need to adjust the value, so I put a little bit of white to cool it down. Still much too cold, too much blue. Put a bit of alizarin in there, a little bit of white to adjust it. We're getting much closer now. After putting in white, I very often add some color in, because now just a little touch of burnt sienna in there. I'm just think a bit of alizarin, adjust the value again, and that's looking like pretty accurate now. So there we go. And it's simply asking yourself warmer, cooler, lighter or darker. And if you've got to make it darker, you've got to add in a bit of blue. So this very highlighted strip of sand, you can see it's not this area, this part of the beach, it's over there, so it is lighter. Warming it up with a little bit of lemon yellow. White will not do it. White is too cold a color. You've got to warm it up with, and a little bit of that lemon yellow. I think that is pretty much what we're looking for. It is a sunny beach, we want warm looking sand. Now this bit of blue reflected in the distance there, we're much further away than we were in the previous example. So the color again changes. Quite light. So quite a bit lighter. And this just goes to show you again, your viewpoint and your distance from the color changes your perception of that color. Just look at the comparison there. A lot more light into that color from our point of view. Now a similar sort of that coolish pinkish color that we see there. And okay, well that is clearly nowhere close. Bringing a little touch of burnt sienna, some alizarin crimson, bit of cerulean blue, and we're just going to circle that color and get to it through illumination. I've got to make it lighter, I've got to warm it up. A little bit of red light this time for a slightly warmer, lighter, pinkish color. Once again, distance does change things. A little bit more, and if you put in too much warm color, you can cool it down a bit of white. And there we go. So remember, white does cool down a color. Very often I have to add back color after adding white, just to keep that saturation going. So this one is a bit darker and cooler, and we can get to that pretty quickly. Adjusting value, adjusting temperature, and I think that's about it. Now the last color is the distant dune there, which is getting quite a bit of sunlight, but it's also further away from us. So if you know your aerial perspective, you know it's going to be paler and cooler the further you go away. So we'll see what a difference. Compare the two and you can see the influence of aerial perspective. Well, I hope you found this video helpful and that there are some useful tips that you can use for your color mixing as well. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and I would really appreciate if you would subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure that you receive notifications of the next video. If you want to read the blog post article I wrote on this topic of mixing beach sand colors, you'll find the link below. Okay, until next time, I will see you in the next video. Cheers for now.